What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rome Legacy back again with another video. So, y'all been waiting for another fragrance review. I know. It's been a minute. But I got one for you guys. I got a really good, I think this might be another exclusive fragrance review for you guys. And it's from a fantastic house that I discovered from Paris. And this fragrance house, you saw the title, is Khalil from Noem, Paris. And man, I had to do, my due diligence. I had to sit with this fragrance for a little bit, get used to it, and understand the complexity of this fragrance. And since I've had it, I've enjoyed every bit of it. So I want to tell you guys about this fantastic perfume. All right? Before I get too deep and go too crazy with this review, for those who just joined me, I'm Rome Legacy. Welcome to He Smells Like Rome. We talk about niche fragrances here. We talk about luxury fragrances and hard to find fragrances. That is the most important. I want to show you guys some fragrances that are not talked about, mostly fragrances that are not hyped. I want you guys to have some unique fragrances that's going to cause conversation. All right? So if that's the type of content you're looking for, do me a favor. Like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Share this video with your friends so they can join on and get some of these banging fragrances that I'm talking about. All right? You guys, y'all my peoples. Do me a favor, at the end of this video, comment down below if you guys have any fragrances from Noem, Paris. I'm eager to try more of their fragrances because they got, man, I smelled about 5 of them and every single one of them joints was fire. All right? So, with that said, if y'all ready for another fantastic fragrance review from your boy, sit back, relax, get your popcorn. It's about to go down. All right, so we back, y'all. So, you know how I do. I do a little old school. I do a little new something sometimes. But I want to show you guys the box because this is a really nice presentation from Noem, Paris. This very hard cardboard box. I love the detail in between, almost like a painting in between the cardboard box. And when you open it up, you know this is pure luxury, guys. The fragrance is right there. Beautiful inlay of just beautiful abstract art. Man, a fantastic looking presentation. You know I'm a sucker for presentations, so kudos to you guys. Fantastic, gorgeous looking bottle presentation with the box. All right, but y'all not here for that. Y'all here for the juice. So let me show you what the bottle looks like. Look at that beautiful thing right there. Now I don't want this thing to get caught on the camera, so hopefully I'm angling it so you guys can get a really good look at what the bottle looks like. The entire bottle is gold. That is fantastic. But there's a good and bad side about having a completely transparent or silver or gold bottle. It's a fingerprint magnet, and it is extremely hard to film or take pictures of something like this because it always has a reflection of something behind it, beside it, or even the camera that you're filming with. So if you see the camera in the video, please excuse that. Don't even look at that, ignore that. Focus on what I'm talking about. All right, so this fragrance came out in 2022, right? It is their top fragrance in their line, and how I got introduced to the fragrance, you guys probably seen my interview I did with their, I think it's creative director or their sales manager. I'll put her name and picture up here. I apologize, it's been a minute. But she was a lovely lady, very intuitive, very knowledgeable about the company, of course, and very kind. She was a very sweet woman, and I had to get this one after smelling 3 or 4 of the fragrances. This one, it definitely sparked my interest to the point where I was like, yeah, I gotta have it. So after leaving Scent Explorer, this came with me and wound up being my collection. And I really wanted to review the fragrance at first, but I was hesitant because there was such a complexity to the opening I didn't know how to describe it. And it's never been like that for me. I usually can just break a fragrance down after a week of having it and tell you what I think. But this one definitely took me back and saying, no, I don't want to give the wrong impression. Let me start off by saying this fragrance in the opening is airy and also has a creaminess, a warm creaminess from a caramel. So this almost dry airiness in this contrast with this creamy caramel note is kind of polarizing because they're total opposites, right? But the woodiness, right, is where I'm getting this airy dryness from, right? It has this woody opening, and then the caramel warm, almost, it's funny. The caramel in the fragrance isn't like super sweet. It's like almost creamy caramel and slightly buttery, with enough sweetness that you know it's leaning towards that gourmandish side, but teeters still in the woody aromatic side. That's the opening. So I was very taken back, like, wow, this is different. I like this, man, but where am I gonna sit this? This isn't a gourmand fragrance, but it isn't a total woody fragrance, right? So I'm like, okay, it's delectable, it's delightful, it's warm, but it's also, it's very inviting, right? Get a little bit further into the fragrance and I start to get, for me, it's a warm, nice, light powderiness. And that is due to an iris note. So it's more orris than iris. It's an orris note that has a nice airiness, but the powder note with the airiness from this and the woody tones, it becomes a complete, nice, warm, airy, dry fragrance with hints of sweet, warm caramel drifting back and forth between the woody notes and the powdery notes, just slightly in between it. Makes it, oh, this is fantastic in the opening. While I'm enjoying the opening, I started to get a little bit more of a woody tone. Now the combination between the opening of the woody tone with a slight spice, but the spices come a little bit later. We're getting more of a cedar note, which is complementing that woody tone and that creaminess that goes along with the caramel, right? The hints of the sweetness is still very present, but like I said, it isn't heavily sweet. It's just enough that you can mistake this to be slightly dessert-like, slightly gourmandish. But when I tell you, when we get to the mid, when we get about 2 hours into this fragrance, we got tonka bean that is literally slightly roasted, warm, sweet tonka bean. The caramel now transfers down to the middle of the fragrance. And then we got that cedar wood. So we have now a nice, almost dusty, woody tone. And I don't want to say dusty like something wrong with it. I mean, like, the airiness becomes more thicker, more dense with that woody tone, right? Then you have the tonka bean that gives us this kind of roasted sweetness, complementing the soft caramel, but the creaminess of the caramel still plays a big part in the middle of the fragrance, right? Man, y'all don't understand me when I'm telling you guys. I'm over here baffled, like, man, how did they come up with such a fantastic, unique fragrance like this? It works so well in the winter for me. It was very, very pleasant in the colder 20, 30 degree weather, especially when I was out, if I was going, you know, maybe to a restaurant, if I was going to a comedy show, or just hanging out outside with my family, my wife, or friends of mine. I enjoyed every bit of this outside. And even to say, I actually liked it more when I was outside in the cold weather versus being inside in an event or indoors somewhere. Now, don't get me wrong, it still smelled great indoors, but it smelled better to me outdoors because it's the cold wind, the breeze is coming past, and the conflict between cold meets warm that the fragrance is trying to produce made it become a battle of who's gonna win, who's gonna take over. And I tell you, the fragrance won every time because my mind, my attention was on how good it smelled, especially on me, than how cold it was outside. So I didn't mind being outside in the cold. Now, I say that to say this. As we're in right now, as I'm speaking to you right now, we just entered the spring. So I was very kind of hesitant to wear this because of the notes. But this is where the iris plays a really nice part, because right now we're in the 50s to maybe high 60s, and it's still cool, but you get little peaks of, warmness peeking out. The iris note, the orris note, the powderiness combined with this aromatic, almost mirage, combined with a slight buttery tone, gives this a little bit less heftiness. It makes it a little bit lighter. It makes it a little bit more easier to wear, because now that it's slightly warmer, the woody tones don't play so heavily. They don't come out so heavily, except the cedar. The cedar still stays there. The caramel, like I said, isn't very heavy in the beginning at all, so it doesn't come off too thick, too heavy. The tonka bean still is there, still has that warmness, but it doesn't affect or make you uncomfortable wearing it. Now, if you remember what I said in the beginning of the fragrance, I said there was something that made this fragrance kind of complex. It baffled me, right? And I felt myself, wondering why I like this so much beyond the normal, I like it because of caramel or because of tonka bean or cedarwood. Those are always going to be desirable notes in a fragrance. No one's going to turn their nose up to that. But the ambroxan in this fragrance is that little mystery that made me kept coming back saying, wow, this smells good, but why does it smell so good to me? It's not, over the top, beautiful, glorious in its note breakdown. It's pretty simplistic. The blend of the fragrance is definitely done superb, but overall it wasn't mind-blowing when it came down to what I was experiencing. It was just really good. And I was like, okay, as I'm looking at the notes, ambroxan, okay, all right, that kind of euphoric, almost, I would say, a aphrodisiac, for lack of a better word, makes this fragrance just borderline. You become obsessed with the smell because it's that good. And sometimes it works because it goes away and you don't smell it, or, well, I don't smell it. I get a little nose blind to it. But then I'm like, oh, this smells really good. I really enjoy how this thing is coming off my skin. Now let's get to the compliment factor. I've probably worn this fragrance at least a dozen times now. And I can tell you, every single time I've worn this joint outside, every time, there was a female that complimented me or asked me what I had on, in the sense that they were like, oh, that smells great. Like I said, sometimes I forgot that I had it on. Like, I'm enjoying the fragrance and, what is that you have on? I went to a dinner with a couple of my friends and my wife were hanging out, and the waitress asked me, what is that you have on? That smells good. You can smell it even over the food. That's how good that was. Came directly to me. She's handing me my drink. What is that you have on? That smells really good. This is what right here. Go check out my video. I give you the link right now. That's how good this fragrance was and is. Fantastic compliment getter. And I guarantee you, if you wear this fragrance in the right occasion, you're going to get attention. Now, I've been showing you this fragrance. You've probably seen a couple of B-rolls of the fragrance. If I haven't told you, I know you guys are looking at the top, right? You're saying that the top is really unique in itself, right? Now, there's a story behind this. You guys know Monster Bacali, right? Monster Bacali is friends with the creator of the brand. They were having, and this is a funny quick story, they were having kind of he was having trouble figuring out what the cap was going to be. We all know that tops, caps, usually make or break a fragrance. It draws you in because it's unique. Mine is, I happened to have a bracelet on and said, hey, try this. Take the cap and put this bracelet on it. And that was how the top came to be. Nothing extravagant, nothing when it comes to history, just being at the right place at the right time, having something unique on. Bam, that was really cool. I thought that was a really nice thing. And there's a cool saying on the cap, which I really like. It says, fantasy is more important than knowledge. At least I think that's what it says, which is pretty cool because I say, if you know my personality, if you met me before, you know that I'm very into, art, comic books, fantasy. And I'm not the type of person that thinks, straight down the line, we got to get the job done. I'm more open-minded when it comes to things. So that leads me into, taking risks and doing things when it's not on the beaten path. So that kind of resonated with me because she took a chance. They took a chance on, creating a beautiful top when it had really no history behind it. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, maybe not such a short, story, but there you go. All right, so we get to the dry down of the fragrance, right? And for me, this is where the fragrance sits in the realm of competing with, I would say, the mid as probably the more enjoyable parts for fall and winter. I think that the mid of the fragrance will be more enjoyable for the winter leading into the spring. And I get cardamom. I get a nice spicy, soft cardamom, and it is a beautiful fragrance. I do enjoy that. Cardamom mixed with a patchouli, soft patchouli, not so earthy, but still enjoyable. There's a white musk that actually comes in late in the mid to the dry down that complements the woody tones and also that airy kind of vibe that I was telling you about. But man, when I tell you, this fragrance hits all the boxes when it comes to enjoyable, when it comes to sexy, when it comes to inviting, and it is absolutely unisex. Not only that, it lasts at least 10 hours easily, and the CRs behind it, it is just infinite. It will leave a trail for at least 15 minutes behind, and it lingers and lingers, and it's a beautiful soft trail of caramel, wood, spices, and airy powdery notes. So if that's the type of fragrance you're looking for, I'm telling you guys, go try this fragrance out. You won't be disappointed. I would tell you, try the whole line out. Fantastic fragrance. Khalil from Noem, Paris. You can't beat it, guys. All right, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Man, you guys are my peoples. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Got to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for the opportunity to speak with you guys. Without him, none of this would be possible. And you guys, y'all know y'all my peoples. I smell good, guys. Till next time, like I always say, it's okay if you want to smell like Rome. I'll check you guys out in the next video. Until then, peace.